In the book of Revelation, the Apostle John describes an apocalyptic vision of the events that precede the end of times. Among these visions, the four horsemen stand out, sent to bring judgment and change to the world. In the book of Revelation, in chapter 6, an apocalyptic scenario is described where four horsemen emerge, each representing a dark and catastrophic facet of humanity's fate. These horsemen, known as the four horsemen of the apocalypse, personify concepts such as conquest, war, famine, and death, bringing with them chaos and desolation. Each of them carries a deep and disturbing meaning, symbolizing the challenges and trials that humanity will face in the future. In this context, we will explore in detail the history and impact of each of these horsemen, delving into the depths of their symbolism and the terror of their actions. I contemplated when the Lamb broke the first of the seals, and a voice like thunder cried out, "Come!" Then, before my eyes, a white horse appeared, ridden by a rider whose hand wielded a bow, adorned with a resplendent crown. He set out on a journey of victory, destined to triumph over everything he faced. In this chapter of Revelation, the first rider is a majestic vision, representing the rise of power and domination. Known as Conquest or Conqueror, his presence evokes the relentless pursuit of control and supremacy. His gleaming bow not only symbolizes his leadership ability, but also his ability to subjugate entire nations. He rides through the royal courts, whispering promises of power and glory to rulers. Kingdoms fall, alliances are broken, and the world bends to his will. His appearance heralds times of turbulence, where the pursuit of supremacy will rule the fate of humanity. In the future, this rider will continue to extend his dominion over the hearts and minds of men, weaving a web of submission and oppression that will envelop the world in its relentless grasp. When the Lamb broke the second seal, I heard the voice of the second living being proclaiming, "Come!" Then, a red horse appeared, ridden by a rider invested with power to take peace from the earth and instigate men to kill each other. This rider is identified as War, and his arrival is marked by an overwhelming aura of destruction. Mounted on a red steed, which seems wrapped in flames, he wields a sword of impressive proportions, capable of inciting in men an insatiable desire for battle. His steps resonate like thunder, announcing the imminence of bloody conflicts that devour entire nations in a whirlwind of violence and despair. The presence of the war rider is a grim reminder of the ephemerality of peace and the inevitability of human conflicts. Where he passes, battlefields arise, nations face each other, brothers become enemies, and the roar of weapons echoes through the valleys. He is the scourge of war. In the future, he will continue to inflame the hearts of men with the ardor of war, precipitating the world into an abyss of destruction and hopelessness, where carnage and bloodshed will be the order of the day. In the account of Revelation, when the third seal was broken by the Lamb, I heard the third living being crying out, "Come!" Before me, a black horse appeared, and upon it rode a rider holding an unbalanced scale. This rider is known as Famine, and his arrival is a grim omen of scarcity and deprivation. His empty eyes mirror the desolation he brings, while the tilted scale he carries symbolizes the imbalance and injustice that accompany his presence. Wherever he goes, the earth becomes arid and the barns empty, leaving behind a trail of misery and despair. The appearance of the famine rider is a grim reminder of the vulnerability of human life in the face of the cruelty of fate. In his future steps, he will continue to afflict humanity, plunging it into an abyss of suffering and hopelessness, where hunger will devour not only bodies but also the souls of those afflicted by anguish. Then I witnessed the arrival of a yellow horse whose rider was called Death, and hell itself followed him. He was given authority over a fourth part of the earth, with power to take life by the sword, by famine, by pestilence, and by means of the wild beasts of the earth. This rider is a terrifying manifestation of death in its darkest and most relentless form. He rides on a pale horse, which symbolizes the fragility and desolation of human life, while wielding a sharp scythe, representing the ultimate harvest of souls. Kings and commoners, young and old, all succumb to his icy touch. He is the inevitable end, the last breath, the eternal silence. Known as death, his presence is a sinister reminder of the transitory nature of earthly existence and the inevitability of the end. With each step, the sound of the final sighs and the lament of the afflicted accompany his trajectory, as he reaps lives indiscriminately through wars, plague, and famine, without showing compassion or remorse. In the future, his relentless march will persist, reinforcing humanity's awareness of its own fragility in the face of fate, until the last breath of life is extinguished, leaving only the eternal echo and the silence of the tombs.
Hey guys, I liked the video. If you liked this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Leave your like and share with your friends. Also leave your comment. Your opinion is very important to us.